Well, hello there. How are you doing today? Do you feel like doing a little bit of DIYing with me today? Well, come on in. Let's get started. What do I have going on for you for today? Well, today I am DIYing with, spray foam insulator. Now, this insulator can be found at just about any hardware store. It can be found at Walmart. I found that Walmart had it the cheapest. It is so fun to DIY with. It is budget friendly, and oh my goodness, I cannot wait to show you what I do with it today. So guess what? I'm gonna quit my gabbing. Let's jump into it and let me show you just how easily you can DIY with spray foam insulator. You're not gonna wanna miss this. Let's get to it. Who is today's KB Creations Crafter of the Day? You'll wanna stick around to the end of the video to see if it's your creation that's being featured in today's video. If you're interested in being featured as a Crafter of the Day in one of my videos, submit a picture of one of your recreations of a DIY that I've done to either Facebook or Instagram. If you want to DM it to me, you can. Then you just simply have to look out for the end of each video to see if it's your DIY that I will be featuring in that given video. For this DIY, I dug into my Christmas stash of craft items, pulled out this wire wreath form in the shape of a snowman. Yeah, these are pretty cool. Keep your eye open for it at Dollar Tree this Christmas, because I guarantee you're gonna wanna do this DIY with it. For this DIY, like I said, you're gonna need some insulating foam. Now this is something that you would use or find in the hardware section of Lowe's or Walmart, and it's typically used to insulate parts of your house or fill in gaps or holes. This brand, the GE brand, you're gonna pay about $4 for it because it is not pure white. It has kind of an off-white tint to it. If you want pure white, you're gonna go with the Loctite, and this one is a bright white foam, but it comes at a higher price tag, and that higher price tag is gonna be about $8, so you're paying double for it. Let me also preface that with the fact that this foam, when it dries, is paintable. So if you don't mind putting a little bit of DIYing into it, it might be best to pay less for it. This stuff is pretty easy to use. You just attach, the nozzle to the top of the can, you give it a good shake, and when you press go, look what comes out, some spray foam. Now this stuff is sticky. You don't want to touch it unless you've got gloves on, because you're gonna have a heck of a time getting it off of your skin. I found that Goo Gone took it off my skin when I did touch it without gloves. But yeah, definitely use some disposable gloves when working with this, because it's gonna save you a lot of headache. This stuff expands as it dries, and it expands pretty quickly. Here you can see that it is just going. And yeah, that's what's pretty cool about this. So the size that it is when you put it on your form is not going to be the size it is when it dries. It takes about 6 to 8 hours to dry. So this was something that I did at night before I went to bed to actually let it dry so it was ready to go in the morning. So with the top of my snowman's head, I'm gonna pretty much do the same thing. I'm gonna outline the wreath form itself and then just kind of work my way into the center. Now, if you need to touch this up for any reason, the best way to do it is to use a paint scraper or a spatula of sorts, because it is sticky. But I will also tell you that you can cut this foam when it dries pretty easily. You can see that I am also outlining the hat. Now, I do also want to say that the more imperfect this piece is, the more perfect it is going to be. I promise you that. This is such a fun DIY, and I think you're going to get a kick out of it. For my snowman's arms and hands, well, that's not gonna cost me anything, because I just went outside, found some sticks that were underneath a bush of mine, collected a few, and yep, while that foam is wet, I'm just gonna add that stick on top of the wire, covering it up, and it's gonna be adorable. And I'm gonna do that to both sides. Now, as I did this, I remembered thinking once it was done that I wasn't super happy with the length that I had gone with for the sticks. And so later on, you will see that I actually went back and fixed this before the foam dried. We need a carrot for this snowman's nose, so I dug into my spring stash, found these wood carrots, pulled off the grass top, and it is the perfect size for this. These carrots, I wanna say, were at Dollar Tree or Walmart, and so yeah, when I see stuff like this, I pick it up and add it to my stash. For my snowman's eyes, mouth, and well, the buttons that go down the front of him, I dug into my stash of wood buttons. I gave up on collecting buttons in different colors and styles because I felt like it was just too much. I figured, you know what, if I have wood beads that you can get at Michael's, they come in a variety pack with like 3 or 4 different sizes, I can paint these buttons to suit my DIY needs for whatever given DIY I'm using them in. And so for like this one, yep, I needed some black buttons, but guess what? These buttons are definitely not black. The execution of this DIY could have, should have been a bit better, but I was kind of winging it at this point. But it's not anything that can't be fixed later. I got my buttons into place while the foam is wet, and yeah, I'm gonna let this set overnight and let it dry. This here would be an example of me completely forgetting to stop the recording on my camera, and I turned off my lights, then decided, you know what? I'm gonna go back and fix those hands, my stick hands and arms, before it dries because I don't wanna ruin this snowman tomorrow. So here you can see that I just decided to go in and replace these and make them a bit better, and yeah, now I'm happy. Before I painted these buttons, I realized that the eyes and the mouths still had holes. So again, yeah, the execution of this could have been a bit better. But nonetheless, spackling is super easy to work with. It's super easy to wipe away after you fill the holes, and it's paintable. So I went ahead and filled in the eyes and the mouth, wiped off the excess spackling, and with that, I am good to go with painting over the buttons that are now hole free. Well, the ones on the face anyway. And yeah, so I just used a smaller paintbrush, took some Apple Barrel Black matte acrylic paint, and went over those nice wood buttons. Wasn't the easiest, but it was a bit time consuming, not gonna lie, because of the unevenness of the foam. I didn't want to get the paint everywhere, but you know, as a crafter and a DIYer, sometimes this stuff happens and you just kind of go with it, and yeah, I wasn't in a big hurry anyway. I think I had said before that this foam, once it is completely dry, it is paintable. It is very easy to paint. I do want to point out that you can see just how much this foam expanded when it dried. And I feel like I said before, the more imperfect it is, the more perfect it's gonna be, because when we add paint to it, the detailing of this is really gonna add to that rustic, I guess, homemade, handmade feel that I like in my DIYs. And you can also see that although this isn't completely white, if you wanted to paint it white, you totally could, and just don't add the detailing of the nose and the buttons while the foam is wet. So you could paint it and then you just kind of gotta hot glue it on afterwards. But again, I'm not worried about it not being white because I feel like it gives it some age. My snowman needs a scarf, everyone does, but mine needs a burlap scarf. And so I dug into my wire ribbon, and I was looking for a ribbon that didn't have white in it, that had more of a cream and a tan in it, but still had that Christmas vibe to it with the burlap, and this one was perfect for it. Had it had white, I feel like it would have made the foam discoloration stand out too much, and it would have looked off. But because it's cream, it's gonna blend in and it's gonna look like it was meant to be that way. And look at how cool that foam is, how it just expanded around the wire form. Now I'm gonna show you in the next DIY, if you wanna add lights to this, how you can do that. To this one, I didn't wanna do it because it's gonna be a wall decor piece, and yeah, I'm happy with it being just what it is. Instead of tying ribbon and trying to make it look perfect, if you just take a piece and kind of fold it the way I did here, you can easily just kind of hot glue it across the strip there, and it looks like it is a scarf that has been tied. And I'm just gonna glue my pieces down just to ensure that they stay in place. Taking a coarser paintbrush and an oil pastel. This is an oil pastel by Crayola in the color of red. By running that, I guess, harder bristle brush on the oil pastel, it is going to give you the capability of adding rosy cheeks onto something like this without having those harsh lines. You're gonna get the softer blended look that is really hard to do when you're working with paint itself. And so yeah, this is just kind of a fun trick of the trade, a fun hack. So Dollar Tree, I believe, does have some oil pastels. I'd pick up a pack, put them in your stash, because yeah, when adding rosy cheeks to a DIY like this adorable snowman, or maybe some Santa Clauses that you may be doing this Christmas season, it's gonna work perfect. Adding a couple white dots to the eyes is really gonna help bring Frosty to life and not just have that blank look on his face, I guess. Yeah. I'm also gonna add some lines to the carrot because that's gonna add dimension and personality to his nose other than just having a solid orange nose. And when you're adding these lines, you just want them to be squiggly, uneven lines because that's what it looks like on a carrot. I didn't want to add more of the same ribbon that I used for the scarf because one, I felt like it was too thick, and two, I felt like it was going to be too busy. So just using this burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree, I figured that this was perfect. It was going to tie it into the scarf, and it was going to leave me some, I guess, capability of adding some berries and greenery to the top of his hat just to embellish it and finish it off. Let's go take a look at this piece. Oh my word, I have to say it. Isn't this snowman so stinking cute? And look at how easy it was to make using some foam insulator for $4. For this next DIY, I will be using one of these 3D DIY craft kits. This is a Christmas one, again, that you're gonna find at Dollar Tree here anytime. The fall stuff is already out. So yeah, keep your eye open because once the Christmas stuff comes out, you're gonna wanna get the getting while the getting is good, because if you don't, you're gonna go back and it's gonna be gone. Yes, that is my advice to you this year before the holidays even happen. Now for this house, I wanted to give it the wood stained look because I really love keeping the feel and the look of the wood, the grain in the wood. And so an easy way to do that with paint is to water down your paint quite a bit, make it kind of a watercolor, and look there, it looks like you just stained this. And not only does it look like you stained it, but it is a win-win because it's gonna dry in just about a minute or two. And so yeah, with the house, I went with Apple Barrel's chocolate sprinkle and water. I didn't much like this piece without detailing, and so I decided just to use the lines that are on the house for the roof and go with black. I did not, however, water down the black because I wanted it to be a bit more pigmented and really stand out. And I figured, yeah, just by doing the roof line that way, it was gonna make all the difference. And here in the middle of the video, I decided to show you that I did buy both cans, and you will see here on the Loctite tight phone that it says bright white color. If you don't want to paint your stuff and you want it to be bright white, you're going to pay the $8. But honestly, if you just get the one that I used today, this is off, but you're only going to pay $4 for it. Dollar Tree has these mini wreath forms. They come in a 2-pack. That's what I'm using today, but I only need one. And I'm also going to be using some of Dollar Tree's LED lights. There are 10 lights on these, which is perfect, and you're gonna need some zip ties that you can also get from Dollar Tree. I'm using the clear ones. I'm gonna take this strand of lights, and on the back side of the wreath form, I'm going to zip tie this strand of 10 onto yeah, the wire using my zip ties. When zip tying the lights onto the wreath form, you do not want to zip tie the battery pack on. You want that to be free and clear. You want to give yourself about 3 to 4 inches of leeway to keep it out of the way. So when you do go in with the foam, you're not going to, I guess, adhere it onto any part of the wreath, because if it adheres, it's going to make it a bit hard to change the batteries or turn the pack on and off. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my foam, and you can see that I am going right over the lights with the foam. You can really do any, I guess, design with the foam that you want. I just kind of wanted to keep it basic, and I didn't want it to get too big. So I'm just kind of going from side to side, and I will tell you that I used only 1 can for the snowman, and doing this wreath, I really used hardly any. I would say that with 1 can, if you wanted to do these wreaths, you would probably get 4 wreaths. And the snowman, you're gonna only get 1. Pretty much. And so I think I went to use the can on this one after the snowman, and there wasn't much left to do anything with. Look at that, it has already expanded. Now I'm gonna take my laser cutouts, and I'm gonna start with the tree, and I'm gonna start from the back and build forward. While the foam is wet, I'm gonna add the tree here to the bottom of this, just gently setting it in there. Now just know that this is a one-hit wonder. You have 1 chance to get this in place, because if you try to pull these trees up and reposition them, it's gonna ruin your foam. It's gonna deflate it. Once I got my trees in place there on the bottom, I'm gonna put just another strip of that foam because I want this to be dimensional. And so by adding that, when I go to add the house, it's going to give it that dimensional look versus just putting the house right on the trees. Now, when I was placing the house, because the foam was still wet, it didn't want to set in place right, and it kept falling backwards. So I took a bead and just stuck it in between the tree and the house until this dried, just to get that dimensional look. Look at how cool that looks. Now I'm gonna let this dry. This is what it looks like after it has dried, and I couldn't be happier with it. So to this, I wanted to add just a simple ribbon. Again, I'm gonna go with the ribbon that I used for Frosty. I'm just gonna hoop it through the wreath. What I was thinking as I was doing this is, gosh, I wish I would have had some of those wood sticker snowflakes that Dollar Tree has at Christmas time, because that would have been so fun to add to, I guess, the outside of the foam, just to kind of add to this piece, but I didn't have any in my stash, and as we know right now it's only fall stuff, so I was kind of out of luck. With this piece though, I will tell you, it gave me a run for the money, because as I was editing this today, which is Thursday, better late than never, I was missing footage for this piece. Then when it came to take the picture of it, my DIY, this wreath, this adorable wreath, yes, it grew feet and it got away from me. I don't know where it's at. Yeah, so to this, I'm just gonna finish it off with a burlap bow here. Less is more sometimes, simpler is better. If you wanted to add maybe some glitter to the foam before it dries, that might be a cool addition. I am not a fan of glitter, I'm not gonna lie. It sticks to you, it makes a mess, and so yeah, not gonna add glitter to this. Now, when cutting tails on a bow, if you fold it in half, you're gonna get the perfect cut. Just fold it in half, and this way, look, you're putting your 2 tails together here. Come on, Kelly. You're gonna get the right size. Then just taking your scissors and cutting at an angle, you're gonna get it, I guess, even, and that point is gonna be perfect, and it's an easy way to just kind of taper off the tails of a bow. Now, for the back side of this, I did want to just secure the battery pack a bit, and so once it was all dry, said and done, I took some hot glued the battery pack to the back, and this is where you are gonna see this project done, but it's not a real picture because, like I said, it grew feet, it walked away, I couldn't find it. I am so sorry about that, but this is what it looked like. It's a screenshot of the DIY as I was doing it, and yeah, what a fun rustic piece. Who is today's KB Creations Crafter of the Day? Well, it's going out to Big Sister 65, who's bringing to us her DIY recreation using Dollar Tree's gift bags. What a fun piece. I love your addition of the wood on the top and the bottom, giving it that scroll look. Thank you so much for sharing your creation with us today. How fun are these DIYs, right? The possibilities are endless and so many different things that you can do using this spray foam insulator. The only downfall is it takes a minute for it to dry, so you gotta put those patient pants on, or maybe DIY at night and let it dry overnight while you're sleeping so you can pick up where you left off in the morning. I hope you all enjoyed these fun winter Christmas DIYs using spray foam insulator. Go get some at Walmart, it's cheap. If you're looking for more DIY inspiration, well, guess what? You can click on the videos right over here and it'll take you to one of my past favorites. Until next time, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy crafting on a budget. Stay happy, stay safe, stay healthy. But most of all, you know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say it. Stay positive, please. I sure am. Bye for now, everybody.